It's a
yes, it's a tradition.
The article on it. It's a report, like you find.
I'm too lazy to search that stuff up, but I'll take your word for it.
It's the old school clubhouse. And
Dude, it's like the corner of America. Freedom, baby!
But that's
Jeff, what's going on, man? What the fuck, dude? You fucking kicked me out of that one room for no reason, man.
Who is this faggot?
You're referring to Jeff?
Yeah. No, you. You, Sam.
Jeff, he just called you a faggot for no reason.
I mean, Jeff is a faggot, but it's a faggot I like. But you, who are you?
That's so funny.
I'm good with all this, but the only thing I have to say is the Sam that isn't an ass. I think I've been thinking you're this other guy the whole time you've been coming to my room.
No, I'm somebody. There's like fucking 20 Sams on this app, but I'm the one that,
Yeah, no, I'm saying the other Sam who may be a decent person, I thought was you.
Oh, so I'm the asshole?
I mean...
I don't know what else.
The crowd can choose for themselves.
We have some.
I mean, he says over here calling you a freaking faggot. So
no, I'm calling you a faggot. Who are you?
You called him that. And then
My
you said
mistake. She corrected herself.
I mean, Tam, you have to understand, if a beautiful woman needs to think of me as gay in order to not imagine having sex with me daily, I'm willing to pay the cost eventually. She will break down and imagine me.
Jeff, I don't believe any woman is imagining you when they're having sex.
I don't really care what happens in your mind.
I think they're just trying to...
Are you projecting some?
Mm-hmm.
Projecting what?
It turns out what you think about my sex life is completely irrelevant.
No, you're the one. Be careful, Jack.
Fighting your own thoughts.
Be careful.
We need a contest. The Sams have to fight each other. One has to die. The other.
I'm actually requesting Jeff to follow me back so I can join his room.
We're not following you back until you kill Sam.
Oh, you're a follow.
Which one are you?
I'm not the one with the OnlyFans.
Kill the other one.
Oh. Okay.
Don't beg for follows, dude. That's really cheap. That's the lowest of the low.
I'm just a
like my friend when he comes here.
I'm just the scum of the earth. Just call it how it is.
Can you guys follow me on TikTok? I just made a new TikTok video.
See, I have absolutely no problem doing that.
But I gladly will follow you. Can you share it again?
What is it?
Oh my god, you're gonna get all the clicks, guys.
See, I'm not a hater.
Who are you?
I'm Sam Don, dude. I've been on this app for fucking 4 years. I've been on it for 2 years.
I put the link in the chat.
Okay.
You know what's funny is they have the exact same problem with, as I understand it, the prophet Samuel, ironically enough, that there was like an earlier prophecy that a savior was going to come and his name was going to be Samuel. So all the pregnant women just started naming their kids Samuel. So no one could tell who was the asshole Samuel and who was the prophet Samuel until Samuel showed up.
I was named after Samuel Jackson. I don't know which prophet you're referring to.
You sound like a Samuel Jackson.
I appreciate that. Enough is enough.
I must have been Samuel Patel.
I have had it with these motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking plane. Do you guys know the reference?
Is that from that movie, Snakes on a Boat?
Yeah, I think that was
Snakes on a Plane.
Your sister's bat mitzvah.
Oh, was that from your sister's bat mitzvah? I forgot about that one.
It was from the movie Snakes in That Sam.
Was it Planes on a Snake? What was it called?
It was like Snake in My Pants or some shit like that. Anaconda.
Yeah, Sam, I've checked with the board of directors. They do not want you present in my spaces, so they're here.
Jeff, just do me a favor and fucking follow me back so I can join your room.
No, don't follow him.
I enjoy rooms with Jeff, actually. I find them...
Well, keep enjoying them and being his fan.
Hold on, now that he's going to start talking about how fantastic I am, go ahead, Sam.
No, Jeff, I actually look at you. You remind me of fucking Howard Stern.
Oh my God. Jesus Christ.
No, like
Wait,
not like
are you serious?
No, I'm being serious. You do
Why
remind me of
Howard
fucking
Stern? What part of Jeff reminds you of Howard Stern?
Yeah, I feel like Jeff
The
is a
only
fucking
thing they
asshole.
have
Like
got
he's,
similar is
Jeff
that they
doesn't give a
believe.
fuck.
That's all.
Jeff doesn't give a fuck. If you
Jewish.
think he's an asshole, a scumbag, he'll say
Oh,
whatever he wants.
Is Howard
That's what-
Stern also Jewish? I don't
Yeah,
know.
Yeah, they're both fucking Jewish.
But he's also Italian. I failed that test of prophecy.
Oh shit! What the heck, David? It's an interesting
Who
picture.
is Sam? I really can't stand this.
I mean, do you think I know more than what he's presented? In
Well,
this?
no,
I
he
think-
seems
I
to be
think-
very. He seems to be very.
I believe you guys find me, somewhat.
I think he's from Afghanistan. Because there are a lot of people from Afghanistan.
Are
Can
you
I
a
ask
Muslim
a
fan?
question? Can I ask a question of these Zionists, self-identified Zionists in the room?
What?
Well, if you self-identify as a Zionist,
Missionary.
well, yeah, okay, thank you. But second favorite, Jeff. Second favorite, Jeff. Okay, good answer. But no, seriously, my question is, I know you guys sometimes, some of you more than others, but I know that some of you guys engage in debate on Clubhouse with anti-Israel people. I know that you do this on Clubhouse.
No, never.
You do. I've seen you do it. I've seen you do it. But so my question
It
is,
didn't happen.
do you ever?
That's disgusting. You're smoking.
Smoking weed, leave him the fuck alone.
All right. My question is,
Who's smoking?
do you ever? My question is, do you ever engage in such a debate with anti-Israel types on other social media platforms besides Clubhouse?
No.
Nobody has social media platforms, my friend. Just
Okay.
you.
No from McZed. Yes, condescending no from Isa. Anybody else want to give a no with or without condescension?
No, go to the gym.
Okay, condescending no from Jeff. Anybody else?
I don't know what the fuck the gym
And
has
quit
to do with
smoking. Your mouth must smell like a chimney and taste even worse.
Well, it might not be cigarettes. It could be weed. Have you ever thought
It
about that?
doesn't matter. I don't care.
It does make a person better.
Okay, so why is smoking looked down upon, but drinking is okay?
All right.
That's so
Why?
fucking.
Now we're talking about smoking instead of
Cleaner
the
aftertaste.
Hezbollah movement.
More fun.
I blame the Jews.
That's right.
Well, can I just tell you, I do sometimes
Big
engage in this
tobacco.
Jeff, you fucking cocksucker! Why don't you follow me back? What the hell's what's your deal?
Maybe it's too early. Is it too early?
I think the answer is in your
It's too
question. That's the brilliance.
You have to suck a little bit harder.
Right.
No, I'm referring to Jeff as the cocksucker.
Right.
But he's a cool cocksucker. Like he's funny at least.
That's friendly.
Sam, are you obsessed with him a little bit? Because it sounds like you are.
If I am, what's the problem with it?
Have some dignity, my man.
Dignity?
No,
That's not
we
a
don't
word.
want that.
No dignity.
Oh my God.
She combined dignity and decency together. That's so interesting.
Well, it's appropriate in
She's British. She can make up words.
1995.
She's the source of all words.
David keeps saying, "Pull me up." I don't know what the fuck this is, but can you guys pull him up?
No.
You gotta have standards in life.
Okay, if we bring him up, we need to send someone down. Wait.
Right.
I would highly
him.
recommend you don't.
No, he's up.
Sorry, Sam.
Hey, David.
Hey guys.
Sam asked us to bring you up, and he had to go down. That's the price for asking to bring someone up. They
Oh, I figured it was David B.
They switch places.
I think he looks good down there.
The old.
Is he your friend? Do you claim him as your friend?
No, I don't know who the fuck that is.
Why was he asking for you to come up then?
I don't know. He was cussing me out in this other room.
Psycho.
Dude, David, stop, and you fucking messaged me privately.
Shut the fuck up. No one messaged you.
Alright, whatever.
Do you guys have got a bromance going on?
No.
Is that what it is?
If we did,
He's gay.
Yeah, he sounds very gay. But more than gay, he
He's
sounds
a
like
29-year-old virgin.
more than gay. Oh my god, more than gay, he
Are
sounds
they
like a faggot.
Afghani enemies?
Yeah.
I'm not Afghan, dude. I just follow
I'm Afghan.
Afghan rooms so I can holler at some Afghan girls. Just
Are
like
you an Afghani, son?
Sam Don supports Taliban. He's a corrupt person.
Oh.
Astaghfirullah.
Are you the type of Afghan that puts, I don't know, surrounds himself with like
Little boys? Yeah, that's how he surrounds himself around little boys.
No, that's a bunch of Nazi babies.
Yeah, it's Sam.
That's
How do you know
disgusting,
about that, Jeff? No, I'm actually Pakistani. I just.
He's not Pakistani. He's lying.
Yeah.
That's my cock, dude. Stop speaking on behalf of me.
Well, no, I would have said the same thing you Ben.
Yeah.
Isha, your cough is back.
Oh yeah, it's been for 10 days. I've been very sick for 10 days.
Same.
Nobody cares about him.
Dude, suck a dick.
I care. That's not true.
I'd rather not.
I care about everybody in this room, but the people between the Sams, and the Sams.
So both Sams you don't like? Even the other one?
I'm not sure about the other Sam, but I think it's your fault, honestly. I need to...
Guilty by association. That's what it is.
I think the other Sam jumped in my room the same day, like the last time I saw you. So I'm not really sure if the same for the other Sam is actually justified.
Jeff, all you have to do is follow me back, and I can, maybe we can.
Why are you being a following whore?
You know Sam Don?
Because I am a whore.
He gets on Clubhouse and he
Your foreign ways and repent.
I tried it. I relapsed.
What does your prophet think about this behavior?
I don't know. I don't.
You know Sam Don is an atheist?
Did you just say I don't know?
He's an atheist. He's an atheist.
He's an atheist white Taliban supporter?
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, shit, dude. Jeff, you said you're a North African Jew. I've never heard that before either.
Your ignorance doesn't make me rare.
I love Jews. I love Jews.
I love Jews too.
They're just.
I never heard of
They're doing the right thing.
I think you need to read more and talk less.
I believe that, so I believe we can all do that.
Well, I mean, there are degrees in life, Sam. No, I'm just shocked by the fact that your inability to own whatever.
I literally just owned it. I said I believe we all should do that, and I included myself in that too. I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
No, I'm perfect.
So many stories
very
over the years about Chevy Chase, but I feel like he was one of your champions.
Well, that would be the championship most week by the narcissist.
So then just fucking follow me back. Shit, what the fuck?
Not a narcissist.
And then Julia Roberts sleeping with the enemy. You can be sure every woman in America told their husbands or girl or boyfriends they're going to see those stories.
I've already fucked a Pakistani. I don't need one now.
And and if you look like anything close to an idiot in front of him, he's not going to put up with that.
Oh, she tried to fuck me, don't you?
One movie that I absolutely love.
This is so awkward
Nothing
now.
But Trouble.
Nothing But Trouble was a
Facts.
very serviceable comedy.
Is the reason why you get kicked out of rooms, Sam?
I never I got kicked out of the room just because I was,
Being you?
yeah, just being me. I don't know why. Why would we stand on like to be themselves and then we shut them
No. Who told you to do that?
Everyone, they always say, hey, be yourself.
No. Who told you specifically to be you? That it's okay to be
I
yourself?
see it everywhere. They say, be
I
yourself.
don't care if you
I see it everywhere.
you.
I was told my whole life, don't ever live a lie. Be yourself.
You don't look like a hedgehog.
Whoever told you to be yourself didn't like you very much because that's not gonna get you a lot of friends in your case.
I would rather have real friends that like me for who I am than people that then have to put up a front.
That's only one option. They also may not have known him very.
No, they know me very well, and they choose to hang out with me. Those are my real friends, not fake friends that I have to put a front.
Yeah, but those might be bad people who are hanging out with you because they.
No, they're very good people. We're very close.
Was it your
No,
mom
I'm not
telling
saying
you?
you're not close with them. I'm saying they enjoy bad behavior as much as you do.
I will, being bad behavior is very subjective. I will say that.
No, it isn't bad behavior.
How is it not subjective? How is it not subjective?
Oh my God.
Okay, define something as bad behavior which is subjective and not objective.
Like drinking with your boys at the bar and then getting so fucked up that one of them puts
But
something
aren't you a
up your
Muslim?
ass.
You're not supposed to drink.
Who said I was a Muslim?
You're Afghani.
No.
You don't have to be Afghan to be Muslim.
Yeah, you could be fucking like Jeff's fucking Arab Jew. Like I've never heard of that, but he is.
There's a million of us.
That's crazy.
Well, actually, there were a million of us in 1948. There's like a lot more of us than that.
Yeah, shit.
I mean,
I would have
literally,
never known that until I met Jeff.
70% of Israeli Jews have a background similar to mine.
They're going to take over the world.
I thought Israeli Jews were from fucking Europe.
That's because you listen to the anti-Semites.
Yeah, that's
Only-
dumb.
Only 30% of Israeli Jews.
All Jews come from Europe, Sam?
No. The ones that came into Israel. Remember when?
No, that's also wrong.
The ones that survived the Holocaust.
Yeah, some of them did survive. How do you feel about that?
I have no problem with that. I believe all human life is precious.
Adorable.
I don't
Look at
believe
this
so.
bumper sticker, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm not a supporter of genocide, if that's what you guys are asking me.
Oh,
That's a
no,
shame.
it's not about genocide, but not all lives matter.
I believe they do.
No, they don't. I think
Why not?
pedophiles should be completely sacked.
Yeah, but fucking there's
Like, for example,
presidents that are-
Mohammed, right?
No, there's presidents that are pedophiles. I don't see you saying anything about them.
Oh, all pedophiles.
Your guys' hero Elvis Presley married a fucking 12-year-old.
I don't know whose hero is Elvis Presley, not mine.
That's Jeff's fucking hero. He's like old as shit. He probably knows.
He literally died on my birthday.
No, he did not. You were probably 20 when he fucking died.
No, he died on my birthday. Sorry, bro.
Jeff, you're like fucking 80. How the fuck did he die on your birthday?
Ooh,
So you're saying you have an alibi for that day, Jeff?
I do. Totally.
Good.
This has been a recent thing. It must be the picture. I don't know.
Send me a friend request, and I'm right now debating whether I should actually follow him back or block
Oh, me or somebody
you.
else?
Yeah, you.
Get
I
the
don't know if
fuck
I
out of here. You already
you or
followed me
block
back.
you.
Stop lying.
Friend you or block you?
Stop lying. You already fucking added me.
Yeah, I know, but that's what I'm saying. I'm debating
It's
whether
gonna
I should
unfriend
friend
you.
you or block you.
I don't know why you would unfriend somebody you just met.
I mean, clearly,
I don't know why I would friend somebody that I
No, that's so fucking rude. Like, that's like giving somebody a handshake and then saying, hey, I take my handshake back.
Well, I can take it back.
Cash a card.
David
But I
is
can
saying
raise,
he's
I
stern.
can
Like
raise it. I can raise it and block you.
She shouldn't change her mind.
But Jeff, why are you being
Because
But
she's
I'm a woman.
Latina.
I'm allowed to change
Jeff,
my
why
mind.
are you being such a cocksucker? You won't even fucking accept my friend request. That's so
Because I
fucked out. He's a
think you're an antisocial person.
I feel
Antisocial?
sad.
I don't feel the need to host you.
I'm over here talking to you. How am I antisocial?
I have no shortage of ladies who want to talk to me.
I
Yes,
think,
I'm
David, what
feeling
the
your
fuck? Turn off
dignity
your mic.
today.
I mean, you think you're the first self-hating Afghani
Dude, you gotta formulate your sentence before you speak.
Yeah, that's true. I'm still
Now I take back, you do not remind me of Howard Stern, because Howard Stern.
That's fine. Yeah,
Howard Stern was much more eloquently spoken than you were.
yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
Sam Don, you know who you remind me of? Ryan Gosling.
Oh, thank you. Everyone says I look like him in real life.
Why?
He looks like him.
Are you a receptionist, David?
Yes, sir. Does that intrigue you now that you know that I look like
Smoke check, Linda. How can I help you? What's up?
Mute yourself, dude.
David over there owns a smoke shop. Just
Dogs.
so you guys know.
Now we know where he works.
He's like every other fucking Arab that owns a smoke shop.
Yes, he is.
They manage good smoke shops.
Yes, they do.
Or the gas stations.
He sells weed out of his smoke
I
shop.
sell weed, I
What do
sell
you want,
weed, I
David?
sell fent, I sell cocaine.
What did you want, David?
Say it again?
Shop.
That was a quick call, David. What did you want?
They're calling for a unit.
Like cop.
You're looking for a eunuch? You can give them Sam.
Yeah, no, me and David have done psychedelics before.
Trippy.
So you know each other in person?
Hell no, I never met this motherfucker a day in my life.
Sounds like a fact.
Where do you live, David?
I live in Virginia.
What about you, Sam?
Oh, that's fun.
I live in California.
Oh, so you are a faggot.
Maybe. I never denied it.
She got you there.
Oh, I never denied it. I don't know.
She
what
got you there. I ain't gonna lie. She got you there.
I just said I never denied it.
No, she got it. She got it.
I never confirmed nor
That's kind of
denied.
true though. All faggots. There's more faggots in California than New York, Maryland, Virginia.
Capital of the world.
So many faggots there.
I mean, I don't know why is that.
I mean, you live
Pot of gold.
I don't know why that would be something
This
to
Sam
bring
is
up
a
the
big
shame.
faggot.
Why is that
He has like a gay sticker on his car. He drives a Prius.
Yeah, but there's nothing wrong with it. I like both men and women, so what?
Nothing wrong with that. There's anything wrong with that.
What
Oh,
does
there's
your
a lot
prophet
wrong.
say about
I
that?
would actually say I'm
Imagine being a gay atheist.
What does your prophet say about that, Sam?
A gay atheist Afghan.
I'm an atheist, like.
Whoa.
Yeah, but are you? Hold on. Are you?
Unique.
Hold on. Are you a Muslim atheist, a Catholic atheist, a Jewish atheist? What?
I was
Were
always
you-
All of the above.
Hold on.
He's Asian.
Shut up. Everybody shut up. So, well, how were you raised?
I wasn't raised in any religion. I don't know why that's so hard for you to believe.
No, there needs to be some background. There always is.
Dude, I don't know. Maybe you grew up in a Muslim
Okay,
household
before
and
you
your
were
dad
an
beat your ass
atheist,
when you were a
before you
little
were an
kid.
atheist, what
just
religion
presented
were you born in? Or what?
Dude, I just told you we grew
His
up.
parents are Hindus. He was Hindu. He was Hindu.
Yes, I
Oh,
was.
he's an Indian.
Yeah. No, there's Hindus in different countries, genius. Okay, it's not just.
So you're an Indian.
He's an
Yeah, but
Indian.
technically you're
There's
Indian.
Hindus in Indonesia, you retard. How many times am I gonna tell you?
So, Sam, you should be the one answering the phones, not David.
So, yeah, I do. From time to time, I do as well too. But I won't.
I don't know what phones he's answering. It's not my phones.
Nah, they're just getting high.
Are you good at technical support?
Technical support or tentacle support? It sounded like you said technical support.
No, I think she's talking about testicle support.
Oh, yeah, I'm good at that. What about you?
He has the best support. You can ask Jeff. Right, Jeff?
Testicle
Yeah, so
support.
I get it.
He's getting support right now.
You kicked him out from your room before?
Yeah, I don't know why. He was being such a concept.
Oh, I can understand why.
Charming person.
I think Jeff is
You kicked him out again?
I think I can come out from your room, actually.
No, it was your room. It was some weird
I
shit.
think I saw you guys in my closet in the floor right now.
Maybe. Possible.
Jeff was telling me like all these girls that are supposedly my age go to him complain about guys my age, and I was like, Jeff, the only reason why they're talking to you in the first place is because they think you have money and they're just using you for your money.
Oh,
He's not
Jeff's
gonna
a hot guy.
So do you answer the Sam? Do you answer the phones for Jeff?
I would love to if you would give me the
You
opportunity.
better take some of the pressure off of me, bro.
The furniture?
No. If you do better with women, maybe less of them will be bothering me.
I don't think anyone
That's
bothers
true.
me. I think when you have to pay for it, then you're not being wrong.
Actually, no.
Jeff, it's not a flex to pay for a younger woman.
I don't flex about women, honestly.
You just did. You told me that younger
You know Sam talks to minors?
No. we were discussing the phenomenon that young women like older men. It wasn't a flex.
You think a young woman would like David? Because I'm obviously, you know, like somebody off the market.
I'm not as young as that. You're partially retarded.
Obviously,
How old are you, David?
23.
obviously.
Aw.
But I'm not atheist.
Obviously.
See, David doesn't seem like such a retard. I followed him.
Aw. Yeah, that's nice. Just don't follow Tom.
Oh, no,
I'm not going to follow Sam.
Oh, no, never.
No, even if you don't follow me, I'll still.
I never follow him, no.
I'm gonna
I
follow
mean,
him
it's fine.
right now, in fact.
And we'll be lucky if he gets through this unblocked.
There you go.
That would be
Just
so
follow him.
fucked up. Why are you gonna block? What the fuck did
I think it's
Have you
because
been
Oh, I
listening
didn't
to yourself?
block you. I just unfollowed you.
I think it's because you're atheist.
That's
No. No, the atheists are fine people mostly.
Well, he's an atheist virgin.
right.
If he's a virgin, then, you know, no wonder he's angry at me.
Yeah.
I'm very sexually frustrated as we speak.
Yeah, you should do better.
I'm trying.
You know, Sam texted me one time. He told me he has troubles getting hard.
Oh, that's tough.
He has troubles getting hard.
It's probably the drugs.
Right.
No, the drugs actually help.
No, they don't.
Either that or 8,000 gods getting even with him.
I was. Dude, have you guys ever done psychedelics and put on one of those fucking, like, those helmets? Like, what are those called? Those virtual reality helmets? And then fucking watch porn and then think it's actually real
I
life.
watch porn.
That's the best shit ever.
That's on Thursdays.
Okay.
I hate watching
Aw. They're like incels. How
Yeah,
to
Yeah,
watch
it's like
porn.
a tiny incel.
They cannot get the real thing.
No.
Yes, I cannot. I am so.
Though it may be.
Even though I look like Ryan Gosling, as David said, like,
You know, Sam has to pay extra for sex.
I thought Sam was a virgin. Make up your mind.
No, when he tries to have sex.
So he pays for the opportunity to have sex and
And
he
then
still
he's
fucks it up.
Then they still
I'm
do
getting
it.
tired of this.
You can't get it up. Got
Like,
it.
it's so bad. I don't think a prostitute to do it.
Got it.
Hey,
so
that
why would I still pay if I
man's didn't kick in on time with overtime.
I don't think he even has money to pay for anyone. That's the reason why he does porn.
Oh, no. He uses
I'm currently in a 2017 Prius, and you're over here telling me I don't have money.
Oh shit, Balla.
Wow.
That's true.
with 300 miles.
I think him and Mikhail would get along right.
200.
Oh,
Same
Mikhail
exit.
likes it.
200,000 miles.
I think they live around the corner from each other. They're the exact same accent.
Who, me and L?
I will grind you up and turn you into a mint Sam.
I would
Make you lick
I
the
would love for her to grind on me.
I think I got soft.
You need to grab your own. You need to grab your ankles first, Sam.
That said that he got soft.
Maybe that's why he doesn't get laid. He can't get hard.
Who, me or David?
I think she's talking about you. She's talking about you.
Oh, I get laid.
I get
Sure you do.
Oh, okay. Sam,
Yes.
when are you gonna lose your virginity?
Okay, I'm getting tired of you both.
I know, really.
I think I'm gonna.
I thought you guys liked David. What the?
No, they're both
Okay. I didn't think I would ever say this, but I prefer to saw Sam on stage, even though he's a pain in the ass.
evidently, yes.
I'm trying to figure out if the ire I have at this other Sam is
Yeah, it's
all
probably
just
this
projected from this Sam.
Yeah, it's this song, yeah.
Turns out there's some jackass Sams running about.
Turns out there's an anon shithead audience. I love when they use a shit emoji because it really is Shit.
Maybe it's Edmund. Who knows?
Probably is.
Probably.
How do we know?
We know.
How do we know?
You check his YouTube, stupid.
That's simple. If you go to his YouTube, it's being recorded.
Yeah. You'll see it broadcast.
I don't think he comes to my rooms to broadcast them. I think that they're too boring for him. And he doesn't really get anybody triggered here. Oh my god.
Happy before everybody. I don't want to be on his fucking recording. See y'all.
Is it him?
Yeah, I'll start a room.
Someone just said he's recording a room.
But is it our?
He records a lot of rooms, whether he's projecting or not. He records a lot of rooms.
No. Someone in the chat said this room is being.
I don't see it being streamed right now.
People in the chat.
Or Sam is probably full of shit. Which
Exactly. Anyway, hey Meyer, I haven't seen you.
Yeah, I lied. It is being streamed.
Okay.
Meyer, how are you? I haven't seen you in a while. Yeah, I saw in the club that you wanted to have a couple of rooms, but I was on Clubhouse for a little bit.
I did one room, but it was a Sunday morning. And I got busy pretty quickly after I started the room, so I didn't go more.
What was it about?
The universal injunctions.
True. And what did you guys say?
What were your thoughts on that one, Mayor?
Well, what everyone's saying is completely untrue, like usual. I'm a little bit concerned about exactly how it's going to work, but this is a situation that needs a remedy, so hopefully we're getting closer to a good remedy.
Well, what do you think about the court's reasoning and the dissents? Right, that's where the
dissent was, in the words of Amy Coney Barrett, completely ridiculous in how we're looking at it.
Why?
Because it didn't have any jurisprudence logic. Like, she just wants the 9 unelected people to get 9 unelected people. It's bad enough. She just wants every court judge to be able to stop things at all times. She didn't deal with the problem. The problem is, it's like basically an asymmetric warfare. An organization that wants to stop an executive order can have multiple litigants fight the case, sometimes even in the same district, but in every district, over and over and over, until they get a universal injunction. And if you lose, there's no loss. So that's not judicial oversight. That's mayhem. There is a problem here that she's not recognizing and pretending that it's a law that's been around forever, when this idea has been relatively new in historical terms and just became a huge problem. Now, birthright citizenship is a separate case, which we're going to deal with at a different day.
Placing an injunction.
Universal injunction. That's what the case is about, not birthright citizenship. And then she keeps saying, they say that birthright citizenship is a case for another day. It is a case for another day. That's not an issue. There's no problem with keeping that as a case for another day. You can do a class action. It's a little bit more cumbersome. It's doable. There is a class here.
Wait, but I'm not understanding something. So I thought that the fact that the Supreme Court ruled against universal injunctions was a good thing, because that is being used as lawfare, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Now you're saying the opposite?
No, that's what I'm saying. He asked me about the dissent. Because Justice Jackson dissented, and I'm saying why she's wrong in her claim. So she's not recognizing that universal injunctions are a weapon, and she's just like saying that they're a necessary part to have a democracy, and claiming history, but there is no history there because it's new. The whole idea of universal injunctions is about 40 years old, and how ubiquitous they are and how quick they come. And every time you sign a piece of paper, you have to defend it 32 times. That's new. So it's not fair to claim history.
And why did they start with the universal injunctions? What's the history there?
It's a
What was
new
the case for them?
it's a new arsenal in lawfare in the partisanship in this country. Executive orders. Obama governed with executive orders. That's new. Trump did it way more, so he upped it even. So it used to be executive orders were mostly for things like flags should fly at half-mast or, not governing through executive orders. Obama basically started that trend, and Trump, times it by 10.
Okay, like ruling by executive order.
Right, so the response to ruling by executive order is universal injunctions, but it's not being done well. This is so classic. The Democrats used, the Republicans did it too, the Democrats did it at a higher level, but the Democrats used universal injunctions as the one thing. So the court is rectifying it and making it work in a way that it can work. And now they're screaming, if you take away this bullet in our arsenal, you're destroying democracy and you're having a runaway executive. It's not true.
It's the opposite, completely.
Right. Well, I am concerned that the fact that they only allow it to the parties it can make split decisions, and the Supreme Court is not designed to remedy quick split decisions on such a speed. Like something like this, like citizenship, the way it's set up now, if there's no class action, you can have split decisions in different districts. So that's something that now the Supreme Court is going to have to fix that quickly. So that's a concern that this new idea is not perfectly done. But the courts can do many things. The courts can designate a specific court for executive order. The courts can clean their docket in a way that they can fix split decisions much quicker than they're possible. There's ways to work around it. So I'm saying this steps one. I have concerns about it, but I think they'll be fixed over the next few years.
Yeah, I think with the checks and balances in place, but that's the only people that should be really checking Trump.
I lost it now. Was that me?
Yeah, I don't know. McNally got lost here.
Over did say, you can hear me? No?
Yeah.
You're in and out.
Yeah.
What about now?
Right now it works. Try it again.
Okay, yeah, I had a red bar for some reason. I'm not sure why. What I was saying is that the only people that should be keeping Trump in check with the executive orders is the legislative branch, i.e. the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court and the House and the Senate. Those are the people that should be keeping the executive in check. No lower court should be implementing these injunctions like this. This shouldn't be allowed, and that's why I think that's been rectified.
Okay, so here's the problem with that. I'm gonna go with.
I'm just saying, why shouldn't that be allowed? If a judge in America has this certain concern about how the federal government is operating within his state, why would you say he shouldn't utilize his state and federally recognized power as a judge and interfere with a federal agent in his state?
I mean, you can go through the normal court process of appealing that to the Supreme Court. That's the process. That's
no, I'm saying the judge himself puts down an injunction, says, yeah, these ICE guys are a problem, you can arrest them, you can lock them up because they keep arresting people that they shouldn't, right? I'm a judge. Can I do that?
No, you should not have that power. Only the Supreme Court should have that power.
Well, you said in your state, Mike, you said in your state, are you not saying that the judges in their district have to, because you jumped away from the universal injunction, was that intentional?
Okay, explain to me the legal mechanics of this universal injunction. Who issues them? Why? What's the justification?
The second district judge says that birthright citizenship is anti-constitutional, and they're putting a stay on it, and
there's a universally an injunction in the entire country that this cannot go into effect anywhere in the entire country.
You're saying because it's currently under appeal and it has not yet been decided by the Supreme Court whether or not birthright citizenship is constitutional, therefore there must be an injunction until that decision is issued?
Correct. And in the entire country, not only in their district, not in their state, in the entire country.
Okay, 1 second.
And you're superseding an executive order.
Quick follow-up.
You're superseding
Is
the
there
president.
any legitimate basis for not issuing clarity on whether or not birthright citizenship is constitutional? Wouldn't that just resolve the issue? Like
having a full court case?
Requiring the court to...
Well, the court case takes time. It's percolating. It's happening. It's going to take time. It's going to be like a 6-month court case.
That like they still have months to write papers back and forth to each other.
Yeah.
Okay, so the court, if they wanted, could interrupt all that, I guess. But yeah, properly for due process, you want to hear all the papers, right? So then the question is whether or not you can issue an injunction to preemptively stop the executive in following through with his constitutional powers, right? Like
what happens is you give the judge, you immediately give the judge power over both the legislative branch, all the other branches. You put district judges higher than everything else. You give them that kind of power to stop legislation, to stop executive orders from going through. That's bullshit. No. It's top down, not bottom up.
So there's a provision which I have to understand
that. It's not saying that any ruling which is issued, it's saying that if there is a court that rules on a particular order, right? There's an executive order to go do X. Someone says that doing X is unconstitutional, so they took it to the court. The court said, you know what, that is unconstitutional, and they appealed it. While they appealed it, someone puts a stay and says, hey, guess what? The court isn't sure whether this is unconstitutional yet. We want you to stop doing this until the court decides, right? They're just saying, this is all due process. This is very slow and formal. Both sides need to get their ducks in a row and present their evidence and argue their case with chances for debate, right? That's what they're saying is the injunction. They're saying legally we need time. But the alternative...
But you understand in the previous, previously when you have cases like these,
understand
if it's a district court judge, the only power they always had was for that district. So they implemented an injunction that says, okay, I'm going to do this thing, or I'm going to put an injunction in. It only applies to a district. Now you're given a federal power to do it for all the fucking districts. No.
Would they have it beyond their district? I don't think they would. Why would they?
They do now. That's the issue.
No, I'm asking you, what
they've been issuing it now.
I'm asking you, if a judge in New Jersey decides that this universal injunction that the federal government should not operate in this particular way until the Supreme Court decides on an issue. The Jersey court decides that. Jersey Supreme Court decides that. Everyone in New Jersey agrees with that. Why the fuck would anyone in New York give a shit?
Okay, you're talking about two different things. You're talking about...
What happened in New York?
Give me a second. Not the New Jersey State Court. The Jersey State Court nobody cares about. If the second district bench judge decides that it's unconstitutional, then every district, all 9 districts, will consider it unconstitutional. A universal executive order will be put on hold until it's appealed.
Okay, now you're saying something else. Now you're saying a federal judge oversees...
Keep talking about districts.
I'm saying about districts.
Let's get back on
I
topic.
can finish a sentence at some point,
Well, I mean, we said districts multiple times. That's multiple states in a district.
In a district judge, you're saying that one district of the federal divisions of the country issues an opinion and the other districts have to abide by it?
Yes. I don't know. That's the case. That's what the case was about. Just to consider it unconstitutional.
Before it was just
how about this? Let's go to extremes. So this is what happened in oral argument. What if the executive order...
Why would one...
I'm explaining it. Let's go to extremes. And that's what they did in oral argument. What if the executive order says all guns throughout the country should be confiscated. And the second district judge says, no, that's clearly unconstitutional. Should they have the ability to say this is unconstitutional in our entire country?
No.
Okay, so that's the argument. What they're claiming is,
Let me phrase that a little differently. Technically, yes, that is what they declare, but the district of relevance of their declaration is their jurisdiction,
right?
Their district,
right? So that's what this decision is claiming. The relevance is their district. The relevance is really their people. It means if I claim I want to have my gun, that could be the relevance. Or
all I'm saying is that the district judge from 2 can never control the opinions of the district judge from 12.
That's what this decision says. The district judge of 2 can never do it of 12. There is a mechanism which I don't fully understand where they can take a peek at the evidence and say this is so egregious. I wanted a universal injunction, which I believe then goes up to the Supreme Court quickly. But there's a system of how it can. Right.
Sister court.
Right. There's a way that. Or it could, so this is where it gets confusing, and I have to read it again with real people interpreting it, not the Democrats hyper-polished screaming that they're just completely wrong. You can also do a class action. I mean, it's the NRA to make a class action lawsuit representing people in the class in every district, and then there's a lottery of which district gets it, blah, blah, blah. And they can say every gun owner is suing, and then every gun owner can keep their gun. So there's mechanisms. They just have to be done right. And the advantage of a class action is you get one bite at the apple. If you lose, you can appeal, but you don't get to then go to Issa and have her sue. And if I lose, I go to David and have him sue. So it's cleaning up the process. You can still fight executive orders. Just say it's cleaning process.
Do with the injunction power.
Because then you represent because then the decision goes to the entire class. Every gun owner.
Whenever an injunction happens that applies to an area, like a district, what happens is
no, it doesn't go to you go to a plaintiffs. If I sue not the entire district.
You interrupted me, motherfucker. Stop it. I'm trying to get my words out and you keep interrupting me. Whenever
I'm Miranda. I'm Colombian. I have 6 brothers. One of them is in and out.
So you're in the Matrix.
It travels up the line. We just don't go forward. Alright, how about now? Is it out the red bar?
I think it's okay now. Go ahead.
What I was trying to say is that whenever something like, say, gun rights are taken away, right? The decision of constitutionality has to come first. So what happens is, if there is an injunction that's suggested, it gets appealed up all to the Supreme Court, and then the Supreme Court will say, okay, we'll allow this injunction for now, or we'll stay at this injunction for now, or they say, nope, we're lifting this injunction until it goes through the rest of the court process. So you may have just a decision on the injunction itself, separate from the actual court argument that may or may not get all the way up to the Supreme Court. So the court may decide just on the injunction alone, separate from the rest of the case. Does that make sense?
Like that?
No, I'm good with it. That's
yeah, but I think that was disagreeing with that.
I don't even disagree. I don't think he was understanding it. He was asking clarifying questions. So where is he?
Like that.
Yeah, I'm still trying to understand what the injunction is, how it's distinctive from any other injunction, and why anyone should care.
Because in this case, instead of applying to things under your district, they were intentionally applying to the president's declarations. Right, so that's a different. You're now telling the executive that's higher than you what to do, what you can or can't do, or what's constitutional. The only group that should be able to determine that is the Supreme Court itself. And if they feel like this is the case, they should have went to the Supreme Court to issue the injunction and get the Supreme Court to issue that injunction, not a federal judge. there should not be like, okay, we're going to stop this until we can get it through the Supreme Court. It should have been this. It always should be the Supreme Court issuing this, and that's been the issue. Is there's been federal judges trying to issue these injunctions when they should not have the power to do so.
No, I'm not getting it. It just seems like an injunction. Courts issue injunctions all the time. Why can't they just like issue an injunction and then it gets like appealed and removed in whatever way injunctions are dealt with? I don't understand.
Lower level, not higher level. You can go down, you can't fucking go up. That's the point.
You're saying that
Not
there
higher
was
than in the
like
ranking.
an injunction on the governor or something?
There were a few issues that were raised. One issue was that you're outside your district. That was one of the things that they were saying. But the main argument they were arguing was court cases can only rule on people that are in the room. So if I sue you because you did X, you win. It doesn't mean that everyone you did X to automatically wins. That's a class action. So if now it gets confusing because some decision.
Party is President Trump.
Well, the party is President Trump, but the person suing the party, saying I want to be a citizen, is John Doe, not every single person born in America. So those people are not. Now the reason why that's problematic, what you're going to say is, as long as
the injunction.
Well, then they make a universal injunction against the entire executive order. So they handle.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The reason why it's irrelevant who the other party is that an injunction is focusing on one party. I don't need to care who the other party is. The injunction is saying I'm talking to one person and telling him you cannot do something because the court is thinking through whether or not you should continue doing what you've been doing.
Oh, there's the point. Thinking through. That's what they changed.
It's President Trump, which is why he's named in the complaint.
Well, they're not going to do that anymore.
Like, normal court procedure.
Yeah, so here's the issue. The problem is what organizations were doing is they would have multiple court cases at the same time, as many as 30. And if you lose the court case, then the executive order stands. And if you win the court case, you won. So you get 30 infinite bites of the apple until you finally get a universal injunction and come up to work. So every executive order that's signed right now has to be defended in multiple courts at the same time, often two separate court cases within the same district. So that's not a tenable situation.
Why?
Why is it not tenable?
No. Why?
Why not?
What I'm asking is why, if there is, let's say, mountains of litigation being produced as a result of a singular executive order, should not, for the sake of efficiency, those cases be consolidated as a class?
That's what they're doing here, saying you have to consolidate a class. And yes, and if you don't and you win, only your client wins. You can't do a universal injunction, forcing people to do it as a class with a bond.
Yeah, there's different ways to do class action law. It's just like it's
right. So that's what they're doing. They're forcing it to be a class. Now, once it's a class, now you have full buy-in because
they have to go back and recertify it to a class now.
That's why the Democrats are lying. That's the
conservatively maybe 2 years.
Once again, this case was already sued as a class. They already did it.
What's the problem? They sued as a class.
They're lying. They're lying. That's a problem. It's not a problem. I mean, it's an interesting story. We discussed it now for half an hour, but it's not the hyperbolic issue is a lot.
The import of this case, it's just like sort of commenting that courts, have to narrow their limitations.
That is my point. If you actually read the decision, the importance of this case gets diminished, and the Democrats are screaming, "No Keynes, you're making him into it." It's not true. They made procedural. So big deal. So now there's a procedure, and we'll deal with it.
Okay. Still not.
But they can still file class action.
Correct.
They already did.
They already did. So one of the issues was they certified a class. Well, they didn't certify a class. They requested a class, and I forgot the exact reason why. But the government, Trump's lawyers, didn't accept the class as a class. So
what is the case?
This case, birthright citizenship.
Oh, okay.
So they didn't accept it as a class. They is they said like people born in America are different than people born to citizen parents. Whatever way they broke the class, when you get a class ruled, you have to prove that it's a class. So they didn't accept the class. So Trump's people said, so in the oral argument, they said, are you going to accept that class? He said no. So she reframed it as a different certification. And he says, okay, so now it's a class. And they kept going. So one of the things the analysts are lying about is that being like, Trump wouldn't even accept the class. Trying to frame it as if he's going to like defy the court order. That's not what accepting the class means. It means he's going to challenge it, which is part of the process. He'll challenge the class, and it was in the oral argument itself, it was reframed, and that class was an acceptable class. Or the course was, this is a class, but either way, they're so blatantly lying, it's hilarious. Like, accept doesn't mean defy. Accept means challenge the court.
This is interesting, but how can you, I don't know, like, don't there need to be certain requirements to file a class? Like,
yeah, there's a bunch of
actually exactly, there needs to actually be some sort of actual damage, right? Of like a current damage or something.
Oh, the damage is easy.
It's just like a change of a law. I mean, if it's not retroactive, or unless they're planning to do it retroactively.
No, but you can do it going forward, right? So that's what you have to pull the class together properly. No, this one's not going retroactively; it's going forward, and you have to you have to create the class in a way that it works. But you can create a class. You can create a class of.
Yeah, but if it's not retroactive, you cannot really have people that are being affected today because it's just in the future.
No, you can.
People that are going to be born in the future, so there's no people affected yet.
No, but you can, because you could be a church that represents the rights of all individuals, and you can be an NGO. You can make a class of one board. You can make a class of fetuses and say, we demand that you have no right to terminate a pregnancy.
Yeah, but the thing is
that class.
So I'm reading here that in order for there to be a class certification, there must be certain things, right? And it says that the class has to be large enough to make individual lawsuits impractical. So basically, a class is just a bunch of individual lawsuits that come together so that instead of, making it more efficient, right? But if you don't really have individual lawsuits, because there are people that are not affected yet, because they're not born yet, right?
Well, let's read the original case that Casa vs. Trump came from and see how they got standing, because I didn't read that part. But the same way this one person got standing, you can make a class. Because whoever sued has standing, right?
So, it says here that for a class certification, there needs to be certain things that aren't being met, right? So one of them is that is large enough to make individual lawsuits impractical. All claims share common legal or factual questions, so that means that there needs to be claims. And the lead plaintiffs, there need to be actual plaintiffs. Claims are typical of the class, and the lead plaintiffs can adequately represent the interest of the group. But, I don't know if I'm reading this wrong because I'm not a lawyer, right? But my understanding is that there has to be individuals that have been already
you're right.
that can act as plaintiffs, and they get together and they file a class action.
You're right, but let's back away from class, because there's a whole layers that I didn't read in this rule secretary. Let's back away from class. What about irregular? How do this case says that anyone born after 2026 will not be a citizen. Who has standing that can sue it? Because there are multiple lawsuits going on right now, so somebody has standing. So who has standing? I can't sue, even though I was born here, because I'm going to be a citizen. So who? Let's read that.
That's my point. Who could sue? In order to be
forget about classes.
In order to be able to sue, you need to be affected, right?
Right. So you don't need a class now. We're talking about one person. Let's say one person could sue. How do you could get standing? One of the ways you can get standing is you could represent those people. So you can say, I represent.
Yes, but no, because you need to be a plaintiff. It's like, represent how? But my point is that, okay, but my point is, if it's going to be retroactive, then yes, you could have plenty of plaintiffs, because there are people that are going to be affected by this new law, or they're changing the law, and it's like, okay, they want to strip away from me people affected, unless you want to say, for example, maybe the pregnant woman, that is living in the U.S. Oh, where did he go? I just bored him. Oh, there he is. I thought you're ready to quit already. You're ready to quit. Just let me say this again quickly, my lady. So, just briefly, what I was saying is that if it's gonna be retroactive, then yes. Fuck. What's going on with Meyer? Abby's here. She's not there to tell us. Oh, Meyer, there you are. What's going on with you? Meyer, are you okay?
Probably shitty internet or
Meyer. Jesus, I hate it because I was putting so much heart into this argument, and now he's not here. Hi, Abby.
So, side note, and I'm not sure if it's related to this case or another one. I think it's this case, but the ACLU is trying to argue that an unborn child is a citizen and has rights like a normal human being.
Yeah, but
think in a minute.
What an irony in that, huh?
My point to Maya was, so, Maya, are you there? Can you just blink your mic just to know that you're listening?
I just popped back in. My audio kept blinking. It's me. My Bluetooth kept shutting off. I had issues.
Okay. Let me just repeat very briefly what I was saying to you. That so who will have standing, right, to make the lawsuit? And I was saying to you that if there are people representing others, there needs to be already someone affected, in my opinion. Of course, I'm not a lawyer, and this is the reason why I'm just expressing my thinking. But in order to be, since this change of law, it's not going to be retroactive. If you make it retroactive, then yes, you will have a lot of people that will be affected because they want to strip the nationality or the naturalization from them. But if it's just moving forward, the people being born are still not yet being born. So you don't have yet the people affected, they don't exist yet. So unless maybe you can say a pregnant mother, that she...
No, so this is the answer. Forget about class, because that's adding a layer of confusion. Let's first talk about who has standing. In order to sue in the United States, you must have standing. You must say, I am personally affected by this, and if the court decides in my favor, it'll give me a remedy. So you need to have standing. I can't just walk in and say,
but they need to exist already, right?
Oh, right. Okay, right. So there's the current lawsuits that are on the table have standing in two ways. There's an organization that represents immigrants. So that's a way of having standing, even though you don't have a person in front of you because that person wasn't born yet. They say we represent the right, or an NGO that represents immigrants. So they're standing. And states have sued, they have standing, because what they're saying is if the federal government doesn't consider these children to be citizens and they don't give them federal help, then that's going to fall on us, and we're going to have a bunch of people that we can't deal with. So like these Medicaid benefits, Medicaid benefits that come from the federal government, they're saying that's standing. And that has been accepted by the court, those two ideas, as standing. What the court is adding now is they're saying Arizona can't sue, and Michigan, and Detroit, and you have 50 lawsuits by 50 different states. They have to join together in a class. The class will be states. States will argue that we're all fighting as one cohesive group against this executive order. So standing has already been an issue and already been decided that you can't have standing in this case. Now, all those people, whoever they get their standing, have to join together into one class. And it's already been done, by the way.
For all cases, Mayor. Not just, that's basically applying across the board that when you have an injunction, that was a blanket statement about injunctions, more so than about the birthright.
Right.
It really wasn't about the birthright. It was about generally with injunctions that in order to have the standing that they're really looking, they left it open for a class to form. So with the other issues that have been litigated, as he signed the executive orders for each one of them, in order to properly apply an injunction, if it was a class, then they would look at it differently.
Abby, does a big, beautiful bill require a bond? Did that go through? So now we need a class and a bond?
You need a bond when you have a class.
So
So
I mean, you need a bond. You have to be bonded for that, for a class to be. Even when you certify a class.
The big beautiful bill added. One second.
Did it add bonding?
Added bonding to everything. I should say that. No, I should say that.
Well,
when it passed the House, it required bonding. I didn't read it. I didn't read that line since the reconciliation.
I don't know. I mean, you know.
What is a bonding?
Bonding is when you litigate, like, if you have a case and you lose it and you appeal. Let's say you you lose your case and you also the other side got awarded attorney's fees, so you go and appeal it. In order to appeal it, you have to bond to the court. You have to get like a bond, you know, a financial instrument, the value of that case in order to proceed.
Okay. So in this case, for example, of the birthright citizenship, so you're saying that they already defined who gets to, what was the wording there? Who gets standing, or like who gets to sue, right? So you're saying the states also are going to be the ones suing. So if there are going to be an amount of states, a number of states that are going to form the class, so is there a minimum amount when it's at a state level that is required for this lawsuit to go ahead?
Yeah, but it's not a number. The minimum is that it's not, it doesn't make sense to do one at a time. You could make that argument very quickly here. First of all, it doesn't make sense that different citizenship in different states, so they should be together as one case.
Yeah.
That's one strong argument. Second of all, an executive order shouldn't have to be defended 50 separate times. Even 50 is a big number. So it's not like you could say AT&T hurt 10,000 people. That's a huge number.
But is there a minimum amount, or is it
it's not a number. No, it's not a number. It doesn't. A lot of laws written this way. It doesn't make sense to do them individually because you can take different factors.
I get it that it doesn't make any sense to do it in an individual way. But in order to be able to file a class action, then do all of them have to come forward, or is it enough when, I don't know, 25 come forward?
You mean if they join? If a class is formed, then you have to join the class. If you don't join the class, you can't do your separate lawsuit. That becomes the law. That becomes the whole idea of a class is I'm going to defend myself once.
Yeah, but what if, for example, only 25 states want to go against this?
And the other
25
states
don't.
And they can't then stare decisis. Well, if they decide afterwards that they'd like to join it, it's too late. They can appeal it, but they can't run a separate.
Yeah, but my point is like, okay, so I'm just trying to figure out how significant can be the push back to this executive order. You know, like if only half of the country or half of the states are against it, and the other ones are in favor of the non-birth right, like how do you manage that from a legal perspective? Like how do you change a law if half of the country, half of the states
want it and half of the country don't? Half the states can join. So let's say half the states join and they lose. The other 25 can't now get a second bite at the apple and try again. But you don't need all 50 states to you once the class is certified, then that is it good enough to go forward, and that they will get their day in court. If they lose, they can appeal. They can appeal it all the way up to the Supreme Court, but they can't start a new lawsuit.
The other thing that can also happen is some of the states can join in with amicus briefs. You know, so they'll they'll file a brief in support of the case, and you see this problem where you'll have, and this is interesting, where you have, let's call them purple states in some ways, where you might have a Republican governor but a Democrat attorney general. So the Democrat AG may file on behalf of the state, or the legislature might be Dem and the governors are, or vice versa. You see what I'm saying? But we see a lot of these, like in the Harvard case, a lot of state attorney generals filed amicus briefs to support Harvard in that case, liberal ones. And that's another way that they may join in. They're not parties to it.
Yeah, all of this is very interesting.
But you understand how a class gets formed, right? Generally.
Yeah, when you have enough people, I mean, so that it makes more sense to sue as a group rather than individually, because it just makes it more efficient. And they represent the same interest.
Yes.
Yeah. But yet my question is
It's
still
like Rule
like, I still
32
don't
or
get it
something.
because minor.
23 or 32.
It's probably 23. And I only heard an oral argument too.
Like, let's try this again. If half of the states are in favor, if half of the states, so half of the states want birthright and half of the states don't. They support the executive order. So if only half of the states sue, I mean, of course, it will apply to the 50 states because, as you say, Meyer, you cannot have birth citizenship just in certain states and some others not. It has to be federal, right? However, if these half of the country is allowed to sue or to go against the interest of the other half of the country, what can the other half of the country do against the lawsuit that half of the country is putting forward?
They can support the plaintiff. So it's not the plaintiff. So it would be this is Casa versus Trump. Well, it's not really, but let's just go with states versus Trump, because the class action will be the states, whatever they name it. So the states versus Trump, you can support Trump. You can write legal briefs to help, but you can't. Your opinion, it's not a democracy. Your opinion doesn't matter. They're supposed to be looking at a subject to the jurisprudence thereof. Does that mean that if you're born there, what about the precedent? So with legal issues, so they can lend support in that way, but there's nothing that they can or should do to change anyway. Right now, 20 states that joined it, and the city of San Francisco. So if other states want it, their opinion is not really relevant.
Yeah, but then I don't know. I mean, I know it's not a democracy, but like, so for example, if the other states manage to actually push forward the lawsuit or whatever, or make their case, and then the whole thing is gonna affect the whole country.
But it
No,
doesn't.
it should. It's a constitution. It's a federal.
Yeah, I know. But think about other states too.
Okay, so let's take like a court case. Let's say you have a whole bunch of states that are blue states. They're mostly Democrat states, and you have some states that have worked really hard to keep pollution out, and they're environmentally conscious states. And then you have other states that don't, that are not as environmentally conscious. You have West Virginia versus, let me think of a very blue state, Oregon, okay, or Washington State. I mean, completely different. One is coal mining, just a completely different approach to it. And then you have a case come in front of the Supreme Court that deals directly with environmental and regulations, whether the regulations can be as strict as they are, who has the right to write these regulations, just dealing with that issue. So you have a bunch of states that want it strict and have state laws that are strict, but they want it strict. And you have states that it's in their best interest that it's not. And the court ruled in that particular case, and it was a West Virginia case, that the EPA, it was overly regulated. And I'm not getting into all the details of the case, but it basically kicked the right to make those regulations back to Congress and away from a very strict EPA agency, hurting that law, ultimately hurting those liberal blue states that are more environmentally conscious. But that was the ruling of the court, and so now that's the law of the land. I mean, you see what I'm saying? So that would be an example where some states.
I understand that.
From the other way.
I understand that it will have to affect the whole land and not just the state. But my point is, what can the states that are, let's say, pro-Trump or pro this executive order do? What recourse do they have in order to go against the potential lawsuit that the blue states what can the red states do
They could just have
in order
like,
to?
they could write briefs, they can offer, help. They can,
This is what I mean. You were saying, yeah. Well, they have to join the class action because otherwise they cannot do it again. Right? Like once it's defined, it's defined.
no, but the class action is not the red states versus the blue states. It's, in this case, it'll be so close to blue states versus the government.
Some older guys who, not doing nothing with their lives, ain't realized that, hey, you can make money if you actually learn to do.
Am I right, April? Y'all been around her for we thought we been around that.
There's a side to her. There's a side to her that I've seen where she will. I don't even know how to explain it. You would have to be in some of the stuff that went down, and I don't think you were, Patty. At the end when chatter was starting and we were all branching off away from.
So I left before y'all.
She was acting like she isn't the way that she. I
left when Jerry came back.
What can I say, Lisa? Hello. I don't know. I don't have any hard feelings towards her, but I know who she is, right? I know who she shows herself to be.
Amen.
In some situations.
Amen.
It's not.
She might look nicer to me because I'm Army. Because remember, her and her daughter always be like, "Oh, listen to the Army girl."
Listen, stuff like when she said her son asked Mom, what was it she said? How come white men are always to blame? I'm like, listen. And then they have black friends that come over to the pool and shit. I'm just like,
she loves to show her
funny
black
stuff
kids
there.
friend.
And the stuff she said to us in the situation where not lots of other people were. Those of us who branched off from DTN. She got issues. Yeah. I don't fucking with her. I don't fuck with her at all.